Good evening and welcome to this webinar on budgeting and forecasting using AI. AI is changing the way we work in finance and FP&A is no different. So FP&A functions like budgeting, forecasting, generating management commentaries, variance analysis, all of them are being impacted and automated by AI right now. So today we will be focusing on specific use cases around budgeting and forecasting using AI. A little bit about us before we begin with. My name is Dhawal Parvatikar. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. Over the last 20 years, I've worked as a CFO in India and in the Middle East. I'm now the co-founder and lead faculty at FP&A Professionals Institute. I've been an active trainer and a mentor over the last 6 years. I've trained more than 5,000 professionals on various topics like FP&A, finance business partnering, data storytelling, AI for finance and FP&A, one-to-one CFO career coaching, and much more. You'll frequently see me in events across the Middle East as a host, as a panelist, as a moderator. I built a vibrant community of more than 200 CFOs across the Middle East. We keep meeting regularly once every quarter. That's how I'm able to keep a pulse on the market to understand what CFOs today are looking for in terms of the skill sets for finance professionals. I'm joined by my co-founder, Asif Masani. Asif, a quick introduction from your end.
Yeah, thank you, Dhawal. So quickly about me, I have been working in finance, specifically in FP&A for over 10 years, and my most recent role was the FP&A lead for one of the largest edtech companies for their APAC function. Then in 2023, we started FP&A Professionals Institute. So over the last 3 years, we've had incredible opportunity to meet with top FP&A professionals at FP&A Professional Institute, and we bring in not just my expertise but experience and expertise or of top FP&A professionals across the globe, and we bring that to the FPI community through our books, courses, webinars, certifications, whatever we do at FPI. So that's a little bit about Dhawal, me, and FPI before we get into the agenda today.
Thank you, Asif. Certified Global FP&A Profession Program is our flagship 6-month certification. The next cohort is starting in June. For those of you who are interested, can download the brochure from our website. We cover more than 50 plus examples. We cover all the tools, data analytics tools, and also the AI tools in AI for FP&A module. So do check it out when you get a chance. So what are we going to cover today? So we'll try and understand a little bit about budgeting and forecasting, the classic steps involved in the budgeting and forecasting. And then we'll try and understand a little bit about budget cycle, how much effort does it take, how much time does it need for a company to actually prepare a budget, and how is it different from a rolling forecast. We often use the terms budgeting and forecasting together, but they do actually mean different things. We'll try and understand the difference between budgeting and forecasting as well. And of course, we will focus majority of our time on showing you some use cases around budgeting and forecasting using AI. And then, of course, we'll have some time for the Q&A in the end as well. Okay, so make sure that you stick through till the very end. We are also sharing a very special 20 use cases bonus pack with you for using Claude inside Excel for FP&A. So this has 20 different use cases with video instructions, practice files. All of those things will be given to you for as part of a special bonus at the end of this webinar as well. So make sure you stay through till the very end. Okay, so with that, let's get into today's discussion. Let's try and understand a little bit about budgeting and forecasting for those of you who are new towards FP&A or new in FP&A. So budgets, as you know, are plan for the year. They represent the blueprint, your target for the upcoming financial year. So typically a budget is prepared before the start of the financial year. Now, let's say if calendar year is my financial year, the budget preparation starts sometime in July, August itself. And many times finance teams spend good 2 to 3 months to compile the budget before it gets approved by the board sometime in November, December, and then gets uploaded in the planning tool or the system that you are maintaining. Now, forecasts, on the other hand, are tracking actuals for the completed months and the plan for the balance period of the financial year. For example, if calendar year is my financial year, the Jan to March will be actuals. So the 3 months of actuals plus 9 months of forecast is my 3+9 forecast, or what we call as a Q1 forecast or a 3+9 forecast. So that is my actuals for the completed period and estimates for the balance period of the financial year. So companies do either a monthly forecast or a quarterly forecast, depending on the size and complexity of the business. Typically, if you're in a fluid business, then you would want to prepare a monthly forecast as well. So that is the difference between a budget and a forecast. Now, in order to prepare a budget plan, it requires significant set of efforts. And think of it like an important event in your life. Now, let's say you are married or you are attempting an examination, you start the preparation way well in advance and way before the actual submission date, right? So let's say if you're preparing the budget for the financial year 2025 and 15 December is your board review and approval date. Now you start working backwards. If 15 December is your board review or approval date, then you may have to complete your CFO CEO review by 15th of November 24 because there'll be a round of back and forth. You need to give some time to the board also to review and come back with the questions, or anybody who's assisting the board to come back and review with the questions. Now, if the CEO and CFO have to review it by 15th of November, then probably you will have to complete all the reviews, department level reviews, individual department level items, consolidation, reviewing the entire company-wide draft budget, doing that back and forth. All of that has to be completed by 30th October 24 itself, right? So which is where you probably need to finalize your version one, which will go to the CFO and CEO for review. Now, in order to do that consolidation, you may have to start preparing well in advance. So maybe you'll have to share different kind of templates with various business teams, right? So they will fill in the data, whether it's a headcount data, sales data, unit data, all of those things are volume data, all of those things are received from the different teams. And then you do a round of back and forth, you do a round of meetings with them, and then finally compile all your submission as well. So that might start at the end of 30th September itself. Okay. And now in order to do that, you will still need to prepare your templates. You will need to come up with guidelines. You will need to come up with instructions as to what do the business teams need to do. For example, if 10% overall revenue growth is our top-down instruction, then how do individual business teams need to achieve that? Those are captured in a budget guideline and these are issued as well. So for them to submit the template by 30th September, you will have to issue the guidelines in August itself. So this is how the entire budget plan cycle operates. And it easily takes good 2 to 3 months for companies to complete the budgeting cycle. Okay. So this is the entire budgeting cycle that you can imagine in a large company. So what is forecast? We talked a little bit about the budget. The end outcome of the budget looks pretty much like a P&L statement, right? So it has your estimated revenue, estimated costs, and operating profit. In this case, if somebody asks you what is the budgeted revenue, then we talk when we say 1.35 million is my budgeted revenue. Now, what is a forecast? Now, forecast, like I told you, it happens during the financial year. So let's imagine that we are now at the end of January. Okay, if you see, we are at the end of January and we have the actuals, which is represented as ACT, and we see that actuals are 90,000 as compared to 100,000. So at the end of January, what we will do as a business is we will retest all our assumptions that we had during the budgeting exercise. In this case, my assumptions still hold good. That's why my FOR, which is forecast from February to December, is exactly the same amount as that of budget. Although my yearly forecast revenue is 1.34 million at this point in time. Okay. So similarly, let's say if I come at the end of March, okay, now here in this case, I'm coming at the end of March. Now I have 3 months of actuals. So I will now prepare something called as a 3+9 forecast, 3 months of actuals and 9 months of forecast, right? So you will see that my numbers are exceeding my budgeted numbers. Now, at the end of March, I will retest all my assumptions that I had in my previous forecast and then capture the revised forecast here. Now, coincidentally, the amounts are exactly the same as that of budget, but I can definitely change this to 105, 107, whatever I feel is the right amount, or we feel as a business is the right amount that will be achieved in the coming months, right? So if somebody asks you what is your budgeted revenue, it still remains $1.35 million. If somebody asks you what is your Q1 forecasted revenue or 3+9 forecast revenue, it is $1.365 million. Okay, so that is the difference between a budget and a forecast. A budget is something which will prepare before the start of the financial year, approved by the board, and then gets uploaded in the system. Forecast is something which you will track on an ongoing basis, either on a monthly or a quarterly basis, depending on the frequency that your management agrees. Now, another version or another extension of a forecast is something called as rolling forecast. The top table that you see here is the same forecast table that we saw on the previous slide. But the bottom table here is the rolling forecast. So what I do in rolling forecast is I don't stop till the end of the financial year. In fact, I go one step ahead and capture the rolling 12-month view. So if I'm looking at March forecast or 3+9 forecast or March forecast, I will prepare forecast from April to next March. If I'm at the end of June, I will prepare a forecast from July to next June. If I'm at the end of September, I'll prepare a forecast from October to next September. Yeah. So that is a rolling forecast where I'll try and get a rolling 12-month, or sometimes businesses do a 15-month view as well. So that is the difference between a traditional forecast and a rolling forecast. Traditional forecast is where you are estimating for the balance period of the financial year, whereas rolling forecast is you go beyond the financial year and see what is my rolling 12-month view. That's a rolling forecast. I hope you are now able to appreciate the difference between the budget, a forecast, and a rolling forecast. Now, some of you might be thinking, what happens at the end of December? At the end of December, I'll have a rolling forecast from Jan to next December, which means, does it eliminate my budgeting exercise? The answer is no. But it significantly reduces the effort on the budgeting exercise. I don't need 3 to 4 months for planning anymore because I've been tracking it on a regular basis. I will probably make some smaller changes here and there and then use my December rolling forecast that I had prepared as a budget and then get it uploaded and approved by the board. Yeah. So that's how the difference between budget, forecast, and rolling forecast. With that context, with some understanding about budgeting and forecasting, right? So we will now move into some use cases on using AI in budgeting and forecasting. With that, I'll hand it over to Asif for the presenting some use cases.
Yeah, thanks, Dhawal. So let me quickly share my screen. Let me know if you are able to see an Excel file. Okay, perfect. Let me unmute you as well.
Yes, Asif, we can see it.
Okay, all right. So what we will do is right now we will look at some use cases on budgets and processes that we usually do while we are preparing budgets or while we are doing forecasts. So I'll try to demonstrate 2 to 3 processes one by one, and I'll try to use different AI tools so that you can get an idea of how you can use the same use case. You can do it in Claude also. You can do it in ChatGPT also. You can use any of the AI tools that you want. Okay, so here is the first use case where we will be using ChatGPT, and what you see here is on the screen is the consolidation template that I usually have to update all the different department data. So what I have here is 5 different business units which have submitted their budget numbers. So this is a hotel chain with 5 different hotels. If you look at sheet 1 to sheet 5, which is business unit 1 to business unit 5, there are 5 different properties across the Middle East, one each in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Oman, and Bahrain. And what I have right now is a submission from each of these business units. And my task as the FP&A corporate, somebody who sits at the group level, is to consolidate all of these departmental budgets. So right now, what you see is only 5 departments. In practice, you might have 20 departments or even sometimes 50 departments that you need to consolidate. So how do you do that using AI? First and most importantly is to make this process easier. You need to make sure that you submit or you give them a very standardized template. So make sure that all the departments are filling up the same template in the same format. That will make life easier for you in terms of the consolidation. Okay. Now, if I had to manually do this, I would have had to use either lookup formulas or index match, or I would have had to manually link equal using equal to through with each of these business units. So what I will try now, what I will do now is try doing this using a couple of tools. Maybe first let me try ChatGPT. So let me open up the ChatGPT uh, add-in and let's see if we can do this using ChatGPT. Okay, so this add-in you can easily add using the add-in button here on your Excel if it is 2016 or later version. So you need a newer Excel version which is 2016 or newer, and you can quickly go here and just type ChatGPT or Claude or whichever add-in you want to use. So if you want a ChatGPT add-in, you can just type ChatGPT and then just click on this and this will get installed in a couple of minutes. Okay, so you will need a paid license to be able to do this for any of the tools. Most of the tools which provide these Excel add-ins, they usually don't do that in the free version, especially ChatGPT and Claude. So you will need for both the cases the paid version, which is usually the $20 per month version. So now when you look at this ChatGPT add-in, let me just quickly show you how does it look like. So here is where you would interact with the AI. Okay, so you can ask anything here. And it is also suggesting you a few options based on this worksheet. Okay, so it has studied this worksheet and it is giving you some options, some prompts that you can try out. It says analyze the revenue mix and the year-on-year drivers, standardize layout. So these are very customized suggestions based on this particular worksheet. These are not random suggestions. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to consolidate. So I'm giving it a prompt saying that very simple. Okay, link the consolidated MIS sheet with the BU wise numbers from BU1 to BU5. So what I am expecting is ChatGPT to automate or quickly update this summary sheet without me able to manually put formulas or links. Okay. So let's see if it is able to do this, and more importantly, how fast is it able to do this. So I've just pressed enter. Okay, let's see what ChatGPT says. So it says I will inspect the MIS layout and then wire the consolidation formulas. Okay. So it says I'll compare the consolidated lines each to the BU-wise sheet before writing the formula. Okay, it says confirmed all the BUY tabs are the same MIS row structure. Now I am writing the consolidation link. So if you notice, it first checked each of the sheet structure in matter of 15 to 20 seconds, and then in a matter of 5 seconds, it was able to update the MIS summary. Okay, so if I had to do this manually, I would have probably taken maybe 30 minutes or maybe an hour based on how my skills are, and depending how many sheets I have to update manually. And now you can do this consolidation with the help of AI tools like ChatGPT within a matter of 30 seconds to maybe 60 seconds. Okay, so this was the first use case which was there in ChatGPT. So you can do the same thing using Claude as well. So let me try and show you the same use case in Claude. So I'm just deleting everything here so that you can see. Okay, so to be able to use the ChatGPT Excel add-in, you need at least the uh, $20 version, which is the pro version. So it is not available in the free version and the go version, which is the $8 version. You would at least need a pro version, which is $20 per month as a subscription. Okay, now let me try and show you the same thing in Claude. So now I'm going in Claude. Again, you can add this using the add an option here. And once you add it, if you have a license, it'll um, ask you the API key or some code which will be there in your license, and then you can connect the Claude add-in. Okay.
So there is a question in the chat box. Is it dynamic or every time do we have to ask AI the consolidation? So I think the question
Yeah.
is it formula linked or can we,
Yes.
what
Yes. So
happens if,
what ChatGPT had done, it had linked the cells equal to, and it had linked the cells. So if you update the templates, business unit wise template, it would automatically update the summary. So it had linked the file. So let's see how does Claude handles it. So again, I give the same prompt, consolidate, or I would say link. So I had mentioned link, right? So it had linked link the BU the cons MIS with BU1 to BU. Okay, so it says again same similar pattern. It says I need to understand the structure of all the sheets. So it's studying the structure of all the sheets, and it might take about 20 seconds to do that. And then it is giving you steps what it is going to follow. So it is look at each of the business unit sheets one by one and then start updating it. So first it is linking the business unit one, which you saw that it is updated. The Dubai property links got updated. Now it will go to the second property and then so on and so forth. So if you noticed, ChatGPT did it much faster in terms of the timing. However, Claude is much more preferred because it is following a step-by-step approach, and you can check each and every step, and that is much more preferred. Although it might take maybe 60 seconds more to complete, which is okay, but it is giving you the step-by-step process that it is following, which might be useful in many cases when you do some other use case. Okay, so coming back to that question, if you notice, this is linked to the Dubai sheet. This is linked to the Abu Dhabi sheet. So these are linked manually. I mean, these are linked using the equal to cell, and so when you update these sheets individually, these formulas will also these numbers will also get updated. Okay, so this was the first use case that I wanted to show you, which we looked at using both the tools, Claude and ChatGPT. Okay, I'll take a pause, see if there are any more questions in the chat box before we go to the next use case. Yeah, can you try to consolidate using some lookup formula. Yeah, we can try to do that. So let me try doing that. It should be able to handle that as well. So let me just delete the numbers here. Okay, so instead of link, what I will do is I will ask uh, it to use some lookup formula. Okay, so I'll not use the term link here. Could you, okay, or I'll say update the consolidated MIS using lookup. I don't want them linked. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, so while this is running, there's another question which I'll take. What is a Claude log? So what the Claude log does is it captures all the steps that you have taken, and also it captures what the prompt you had given, what was the objective. So I'll show you the Claude log once we complete this. So let's see what formula is this using. So it says I need to replace the direct. So it is using the X lookup formula. Okay, so I think that is what is the best approach based on the setup of the sheet. So it'll use the X lookup formula. Okay, so while it does that, let me just show you the Claude log. And if you notice, it is now updated the same sheet using the XLOOKUP formula. Okay, so you can see the XLOOKUP, and it has automatically made some changes to the formula based on it what it needed to adjust to make the left hand side equal for all the sheets. Okay, so it might have made some trim or the other formula. So it can be able it is able to do that using lookup formulas as well. Okay, so right now it's completed one business unit. It will also do the other ones while I go to the Claude log. Okay, so this is how the Claude log looks like. So it shows you the request. So if you recollect, my request was consolidate. In the first case, it was link the consolidated MIS sheet with the BU1 through BU5. So that was the user request, which is my request. What the action it took. Okay, so created cross sheet formula linking across all the five business unit sheets to the consolidated MIS. So this is what the action was taken. And this is more details about the steps that was taken, and then this was the final outcome. Okay, so it records it captures all the steps and the action taken in the Claude log. Okay, let me go back to the consolidated AMS. If you notice now, it has now completed the consolidation using the XLOOKUP formula. Okay, let me just quickly take a look at the other questions. Any risk of hallucinations or made up figures? So over the last couple of months, it has greatly improved. So I have had very few or almost no instances of it giving me a wrong answer or a made up answer in the last 2 months, especially after February, March update in Claude. So it is very rare. However, you cannot 100% depend on it. You need to make sure that you do your checks and balances, and you cannot just use it blindly. I would make sure I just double check all of these links before I use it. Do we have a similar log for ChatGPT? So I don't think so. ChatGPT does not have a log like Claude in the Excel sheet. What it does is, let me just go and switch back to ChatGPT. It does have the history of what you do. So you can look at your previous chats if you go here. But it does not have a log like Claude. So you can look at your previous chats, what you had used in that particular file, but it may not be showing the same log as the Claude log you see here. Any free option for this kind of consolidation? So I guess no. So in both cases, I'm using the Excel add-in. So for the Excel add-in, you will need the pay tool. However, you can, if you want to use it for free, what you can do is you can upload this file in the ChatGPT usual interface, the chat interface, not the Excel add-in, or the Claude usual uh, add-in, and there you could do it for free. But then you will have to do a couple of extra steps where you are uploading the file there and then again downloading the file. So that will be the extra step. And with the free limit, you should be able to do a few use cases till the time you hit the ceiling. So you can do it for free, but not inside Excel. You need to, I mean, not inside using the Excel add-in. You can do it using the chat interface. Yeah, as I mentioned, you need to double check these numbers. So you have to make sure that you check all of these once before you use it. So there is no 100% guarantee that these numbers are 100% accurate, but it does reduce your time significantly. So you can use that if you have saved 1 hour on doing this manually, you can spend 10 minutes on checking it. That should not be a problem.
At least we can do that much.
Yes, otherwise that also, I mean, now you would rarely find an error, but there are again no guarantees that it will be 100% accurate. Yes, so from I last checked, we also have a Copilot. Let me just see if I can show. No, I think I have it in my other laptop. So Copilot, from what I know, should be able to do this right now. So Copilot should also be able to do this. Okay, so you should try this out. As Dhawal had mentioned, we'll share the use cases with you at the end, the Excel files and all, the 20 use cases, so you can try it out. And Copilot should also be able to handle this. Okay, so with that, we will go to the second use case, which I have planned. Okay, let me just go back and show you that file. Okay, so I may not be, in the interest of time, be running the queries live, because the next use case which I'm going to show you, it might take some more time. If I do it live, it may take maybe 5 minutes, and I don't want you to wait for 5 minutes. So what I will do is I'll try to see if I have the history with me. Let me just, yeah. So I have run this use case just before the start of the webinar, so that we don't have to waste time. What I'll do is I'll walk you through the use case, and then once you get the file, you can try it out on your own. Okay. For this one, I am trusting Claude more, because Claude has more, what do you call, as context windows. It's Claude is having a larger context window compared to ChatGPT. So from what I recollect, ChatGPT has about 100,000 or maybe 100,000 to 200,000 tokens as context window, while Claude is 5 times or 7 times, which is more than a million tokens. That in terms of the tokens, it has a larger context window. So what that does, it is able to handle larger volumes of data. So if I had a choice for a short, quick thing, I would use ChatGPT. But if I had to do detailed analysis, I would prefer Claude, because it has a larger context window for doing analysis. Again, I'm not saying this cannot be done in ChatGPT, just that my preference is Claude based on the reason that I gave you. Okay, so what we'll be doing is, now in this particular case, is this is one of the SaaS companies' historical data I have. Okay, I'll just quickly walk you through the SaaS company background. Okay, so it's a fairly straightforward data set where you have the historical data. You have the customer walk from the beginning of the customer to the end of the customer. You have new customers that are added that during that particular month, and then customers who leave. So you have new adds and churn, and then beginning of customers plus new customers minus the churn gives you the end of the customer, and then you have the net new customers. Also, you have the very common revenue metrics for SaaS, which is average revenue per user, new booking MRR, churn, expansion, total MRR. So these are some standard KPIs that you track for SaaS business. Okay, so this is what I have as the historical data which I had fed initially when I had started this use case. Okay, so it was only this sheet which I had. The other three sheets were generated by Claude. Okay, so let me just walk you through what I tried in this use case. So if you notice on the right hand side, I will just quickly check, is the Claude text visible, the window?
Yes, Asif, we can see it.
Okay, let me make it slightly bigger. Okay, so what I did was, using this historical data, I asked it to update. So this is till 2024. So this is 2023 and 2 years of data, of 24 months of data. I asked it to update the monthly forecast for 2025 using the driver-based forecasting approach. Okay, so driver-based forecasting, meaning you give it some assumptions, or it will give you some placeholder assumptions which you should be able to change, and based on those assumptions the forecast should update. That is the meaning of driver based forecasting. Okay, it was able to do a fairly decent job. Okay, so it took about 2 minutes, so it was not very quick like the previous one. It took 2 to 3 minutes to understand the entire data. Okay, and once it understood the data, it said, now I have a clear picture of this data. This is a SaaS company with 24 months of historicals. Let me analyze the key drivers and build. Okay, again, it started to build this, and it took about 5 to 7 minutes to complete the entire forecast sheet, while I was doing something else in the background. Okay, so I'll show you how the forecast looked like, the driver based forecast. Okay, so on the top, it built certain assumptions. Okay, so let me talk about those assumptions. So it is taking the assumptions based on the number of sales representations. So based on the headcount of the sales people, it is saying that one salesperson was able to add eight new customers on an average in the historical data. Okay, so that is what it is basing the assumptions, basing the forecast for the assumption. So it says for every sales rep or for every salesperson, we get eight new customers every month. Okay, so it says customers per rep per month, meaning eight new customers per sales rep. Okay, headcount growth in terms of the sales headcount growth, 1 to 2. So we were adding 1 to 2 headcount in the historicals in terms of the headcount. So it has taken the same assumptions or similar assumption. It looked at the historical churn rate and it has picked up a similar churn rate in terms of 1.25 must be the historical, and it is now targeting 1% as a churn rate, or between 1.25 to 1%. Again, some more assumption in terms of the average revenue based on the historical. What is the expansion MRR? What is the marketing spend on a monthly basis? Or what is the marketing spend growth on a month? So what was the money spent in the historical, and how was it growing month on month? So based on all of these assumptions, it has built a fairly decent driver based forecast. So if you notice, these are 2025 numbers. So it started with 2296, which was the end of customer number for the previous year, which is for end of December 2024, 2296, and it picked up that number and then started building the forecast with that using all of these assumptions. Now, this is one mistake it made, which was the 2020 year. It says Jan 2026. However, this should have been 2025. So you can see that it can make some mistakes, but this is not something that we cannot fix, right? We can just quickly change this to Jan 2025 and update it. So it used the historical data. It used the assumptions. Again, these assumptions I had not given. It looked at the historical data and it created the drivers on its own. Okay, and using these drivers now it is updating the forecast. Okay, so if you look at the formula here, it is picking up this assumption and then building up the new customer forecast, or what are the new customers. It is using the churn rate, and based on the churn rate, it is calculating the churn, and then you get your end customers. So it was able to build a fairly, it was able to look at the historical data, identify the drivers, and then based on those drivers, it was able to update the forecast for the next 12 months or the next year, which was not possible 3 months back when I tried it in January or February. Now Claude is able to do that. So this was one use case on the driver-based forecasting. Before I go back to the chat, let me cover another method of forecasting, which is another popular statistical method of doing forecasting. So here I asked it to use a moving average method. Okay, so moving average meaning taking the averages of the previous 6 months. Okay, so 6 month moving average is what I had asked it to do. So let me just show you what the prompt was. Okay, so the first forecast took about 5 to 7 minutes to complete, and then I gave it a second one. Okay, let me just find where that prompt was. Okay, so I said, okay, now I need a forecast version 2 based on moving averages. So the driver based forecast I saw, but I wanted another version of the forecast using moving averages. Okay, so moving averages meaning using the previous historical numbers and taking the average of that. So in this case, it is taking a 6 month moving average, meaning taking the average of the previous 6 months. Okay, so it was able to again build the 6 month moving average base forecast. So if you notice, the column B to G is the historical 6 months. And if I show you let me freeze this for you. So if I just maybe I'll have to save it to freeze it. If I just show you the formula here in terms of the forecast for the 2025 period, it is taking the 6 month moving average for the previous historical numbers, okay, which is what I had asked. If I want to make it, okay, so it is taking the average of the previous 6 months. Okay. Based on the 6 month moving average, it has built the entire forecast, including the revenue and all the information that I needed in terms of the SaaS business, including the KPIs. average revenue per user, expansion, churn rate, sales headcount, marketing spend, etc. What were the important drivers? It was able to forecast all of that using the statistical method, which is the moving average method. Okay, so I could have tried another method as well. Like it could have done that also. So we could have tried another one as well. But for demonstration purposes, I am sharing two versions, which one was a driver-based forecast and another one is a statistical method of doing the forecast. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and see if there are any questions, any comments before we go to the next one.
Cool. So, what you saw just now is more like a small trailer, right? I won't even call it a trailer. It is like a mini trailer that you saw, right? It's like a teaser video. So, I hope you can now visualize what it takes to learn FP&A, how AI is going to impact FP&A, and how your job descriptions, your roles are going to change in the coming future, right? So, if you want to grab all those opportunities in the AI-driven FP&A function, then you need to be ready for it. So what we have been doing is we have been talking to CFOs extensively, and there are these five skill sets that CFOs today are looking for in their finance teams. First is your core FP&A concepts, your budgeting, forecasting, margin analysis, variance analysis. All of these are your core FP&A concepts, which are completely non-negotiable, no matter what tool you are using. Then comes financial modeling related to FP&A, again, not related to valuation or investment banking. It's more largely related to FP&A is what CFOs are looking for today. Data storytelling, and you can analyze 10,000 lines of Excel sheets, but how do you convert it into a proper insight and convey it to the business team so that they can take an informed decision? So that is what is data storytelling. Business partnering, you end up collaborating with various business team members. Like I have collaborated in my career with the CEO, with production lead, with supply chain, with marketing director, and so many business teams. So it's your ability to understand the business, it's your business acumen, and also your ability to build strong cross-functional relationships. That is business partnering. And of course, last but not the least, leveraging the technology and AI developments that are happening in the FP&A field. So these are the five critical skill sets that CFOs today are looking for in their finance function. Now, what we have done over the last 3 years is we have built a solid certification program. It's called Certified Global FP&A Program. This certification is a global FP&A certification built and delivered directly by CFOs and FP&A leaders. It has 10 comprehensive modules, which we'll talk about it in a while. Everything through practical examples, real life like situations, experiential simulations and discussions like the ones you just saw right now. You'll also be part of a global alumni community. CGFPA program has been taken by students from more than 25 countries so far. You'll get sessions with a personalized career coach, placement support in terms of your resume review, your interview preparation. We've also got our own portal. It's called fpnajobs.com. I don't know, I don't want to overpromise, but we have also been talking to a lot of employers to sign some MOUs with them so that we can place our students in those companies as well. We've already got about 3 or 4 employers signed up for that. Then monthly Q&A sessions where you can clarify any doubts, any questions directly with the faculty. External speaker sessions globally, top FP&A experts, digital transformation leaders, tool providers, all of them come to FPI to deliver guest sessions every month. You get access to all of these things, and all of this happens through the comfort of your home, through seamless access to an online LMS. All the live sessions that we do are conducted on Zoom, so you can take all of this from the comfort of your home by just devoting about 3 to 4 hours a week of your time. Now, what does the CGFPA program consist of, or what are the modules? There are 10 comprehensive modules that you can see on the screen. I'll let Asif quickly cover the first 5 modules that you see on the left, and then I'll talk about the modules on the right.
Yeah, sure. So I'll talk about some of the CA modules that you see on the screen. So I'll start with the introduction to FP&A, which is a fairly important module for people who have not worked in FP&A before, especially for people who have just transitioned from audit, accounting, or other finance roles into FP&A. So that this gives you an idea of how does the FP&A team looks like in different setups, including large companies, including startups. So how does FP&A team look like in different setups, and what are the roles and responsibilities of the FP&A team? How does a typical FP&A month look like? What do the FP&A teams do in week one, week two, week three, on a monthly basis? So that is what we cover in that. Usually, it is very useful for people who have just started in or who are trying to get into FP&A to give them an idea of how the FP&A function looks like. Then the budgeting forecasting module, you saw some glimpse of that today in terms of the budget calendar and how does the budgeting process work. Uh, This is a very in-depth module where we cover different budgeting methods using case studies and examples, including tops-down, bottoms-up budgeting, zero-based incremental budgeting, driver-based budgeting that you saw today, different forecasting techniques like rolling forecast, statistical methods of doing forecast, regression, moving averages, time series basis forecasting. So different statistical methods of doing forecasting, again all using examples and real life case studies. So that's and also there is a capstone project which is an optional capstone where you can take a real life looking company data which we will provide you and then build a budget from start to the end, right from the template distribution to collecting the inputs to consolidation and then finally presenting the CFO budget, presenting the present doing the CFO doing the budget presentation in front of the CFO. So that's the capstone project, which is very uh, hands-on, which typically usually people find it very useful. Then the AI for finance and FP&A, where we cover all the use cases that we have come across, which we use as consultants or we have seen other top professionals use in terms of leveraging AI tools. Some of that you saw today. So, including using ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, as somebody mentioned. So there's a separate section on Copilot. And then Gemini, if you're using Google environment, which is Google Sheets, Google Sites, and Gemini also is now getting better and better. Manus, which is a agentic AI tool, which is recently acquired by Meta. So we cover all of these tools in that AI for finance and more important than the tools are the use cases, which are very similar use cases that you will see in real life, which you can leverage now AI to improve your productivity and become much more productive at your work. So that is the AI for finance and FP&A module. The next one is the management reporting module, where we show you the most common or most important FP&A reports. What are how do they look like? How do you construct them? How do you build them using examples and case studies? Apart from the management reports, we have uh, detailed discussion on how do you build variance analysis, how do you do variance commentaries, which is again an important part of the FP&A role. We use different frameworks to do variance analysis, and then we also have topics on recharges and allocation and different performance management frameworks like balance scorecards, KPIs, OKRs, and all of that is covered in the management reporting module. Let me cover the financial modeling module and then I'll take a pause. So financial modeling for FP&A is one of my favorite modules because where I teach how can you use or can you leverage the best practices in financial modeling in your FP&A role, where you can use the financial modeling tips and tricks and best practices to create revenue models, to create models, to create long range projections, which requires use of techniques like NPV, IRR, etc. How do you do a 13-week cash flow forecast? So all of that is covered. How do you do scenario planning, sensitivity analysis? All of that is covered in the financial modeling or FP&A module. I'll take a quick pause and I'll
Yeah.
let Dhawal cover the remaining modules that you see on the right.
Thanks, Asif. I'll talk about the modules on the right. So, no matter what kind of an FP&A role you are in, small, medium, large company, you will definitely deal with large sets of data, both financial data and operational data. That is where you need to know your way. How do you navigate through these large sets of data? That's where in the data analytics module, we are covering all the basics of Power BI, Power Query, SQL, and now we are introducing Python and Tableau as well, so that you are familiar with these tools. Again, we don't claim to make you an expert in these tools, but at least we take you to a level where you're comfortable to use them in your FP&A roles. Then financial analysis. Now, again, financial analysis, many of us think are equivalent to ratio analysis, but it is not, right? So internally, as a CFO, there are plenty of KPIs, there are plenty of different kind of analysis that you would be looking at, whether it is a margin analysis, mix analysis, horizontal, vertical, all of these different kind of analysis are explained with examples in the financial analysis module as well. Then comes storytelling and presentation. Yes, you can analyze 10,000 lines of Excel sheets, but how do you communicate that into a proper visual story along with a narrative to the business teams? End of the day, the goal of analysis is to enable the business teams to take decisions. So that's where we cover all the storytelling best practices, presentation best practices, what kind of a presentation needs to be given to senior folks, what kind of presentation needs to be given to junior professionals, all of those different kind of Best practices are covered in the storytelling and presentations module, again with practical examples and cases. Strategy, now again, strategy is a very interestingly positioned module. As and when you start becoming senior in your company, your senior management will start talking a certain strategic language. At that point in time, you cannot use strategy terms in a very loose way. So that is where we're covering all the popular strategy frameworks. To name a few, it could be BCG Matrix, McKinsey 7S, Fortis 5 Forces. All of these things are covered. And also, we show how FP&A teams are interlinked with these strategy tools and how FP&A teams can contribute to these strategic financial decisions in the company. Because tomorrow, when you become a finance leader, you are able to take those strategic financial decisions as well. And then finally comes business partnering. Now, business partnering is all about your business acumen, your ability to build strong cross-functional relationships. Through good 7 to 8 cases that Asif and I have done, Asif and I have collaborated with various cross-functional team members in our experience, whether it is a business development team or a production team or a supply chain team or HR. So we show some practical examples of how you can collaborate with these business teams and then truly add value to the business, right? So that is what is the business partnering module. So all in all, 10 solid modules, everything that you can imagine under the FP&A umbrella, built from, I would say, 20 years of our blood, sweat, and tears. Don't just think about this as a course. It's 20 years of our experience packed into a 6-month program, which can easily fast track your finance career by a couple of years. Again, like I said, we cover 50 plus examples, 10 plus tools. We cover all these data analytics tools as well. We cover all the AI tools and AI tools, again, with AI tools with examples and case studies as well. And in the end, there is a guided capstone project as well, which you will go through. Now, the eligibility for the CGFPA program is you need to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree or a global equivalent in finance, accounting, or business. Alternatively, you may have any professional qualifications like CA, CMA, CPA, ACCA, or any respective accounting qualification of your country. Now, we don't claim to be a substitute for these primary accounting qualifications. In fact, we are a supplement because these things are not taught to you in your accounting qualifications. We're also CPD UK accredited. You can claim your continuing credits in your accounting qualifications as well. How do you get the CGFPA award? Two things. One is the live classes happen on Saturday and Sundays, 2 hours each. The core modules are happening on Saturdays, and the tool track is happening on Sundays. The core modules, which happen on Saturdays for 2 hours, typically it is between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. IST. That core modules, 50% of the attendance for that core modules is compulsory. And after that, you will be submitting your optional capstone project. And once you are able to maintain that 50% attendance and attend all these classes, at the end of the 6-month program, you will undergo a final examination, which is a live proctored examination, which is a 2 hours, 100 marks, 50 questions, multiple choice type examination. Once you go through that examination and pass it with 50% passing marks, you will get the CGFP award from FP&A Professionals Institute. Now, the course fee, the ROI for a course like this, which can easily fast track your FP&A career. I wish we had a course like this when we started our FP&A careers. You can imagine the ROI. I leave it to your imagination. The course fee investment in this program is USD 1795. There's also an option to pay it over 5 months. The course duration will be for 6 months, where you need to attend live classes on Saturdays and Sundays. About 5 to 6 hours of your weekly commitment is required. Sometimes we may give you some pre-reading. Sometimes we may ask you to go through some case study before coming to the live class. But this is designed for busy professionals. So about 5 to 6 hours of your weekly time investment is required in these classes. The next cohort is starting on 13th of June 2026. That is when the next class will start. Again, this is a quick overview of the batch. These are the core modules where you see financial analysis, advanced financial modeling, business strategy, budgeting and forecasting. All the core core modules are covered from Saturdays 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST.
Yeah, so
that
there
is
are there are two slides. So first one is the Saturday timetable, which is the 10 core modules, which is starting on 13th of June, which is the orientation that you see on the slide. And all the core modules get completed. If you can go back to the previous slide, all the core modules get completed by end of November, and the last month, which is December, is kept for the capstone project, and the exams will happen in January. So that is how the timetable looks like for the core modules, the core 10 modules. Also, you have a guest session on the last Saturday of every month. So there is external guest faculty who would come, who would either be FP&A leader in one of the big companies, or a CFO who would be coming and sharing their practical real life experience, which happens on the last Saturday of the month. So that is the core module timetable. And then the next slide, if you can. So this was a Saturday timetable, which is the Saturday 6 to 8 p.m. Now Sundays is interesting because although you have classes almost every Sunday, but you don't have to attend all of them. So you can pick and choose which modules you want to attend, which tools that you want to learn. We would recommend, if you have the time and if you are curious about FP&A, you should learn all of them because we are anyways having those sessions. But if you are somebody who knows that I may not be using one of the tools, then you can skip those because uh, if you're using Power BI, you may want to skip the Tableau sessions. If you're using Tableau, you may want to skip the Power BI sessions. So that is completely up to you. However, we have sessions almost every Sunday for the tools, and you can pick and choose which tools that you want to learn. Some people pick up out of the 5 or 6 tools that we teach, they pick up 2 or 3 tools and then they focus on those. So it is up to you on how you leverage the tool stack.
Yeah, the tool track is not compulsory, although we recommend you to do it. The examination is based only on the core modules. So we don't cover the exam questions don't cover the tools, but it is based on the core modules that we showed you on the previous slide. Awesome. So what I would recommend as a next step is that you at least download the brochure, the CGFP brochure, go through it, go through the detailed curriculum, the process, the application process and everything. So at least complete your applications. Application process is completely free of cost. Let our academic counselors review your eligibility. They'll come back to you with any early bird offer or any other offer that is available at that point in time. So make sure that you are able to at least complete the application form and be in the race. The first round of applications are closing on the 15th of May 2026. That is when the first round of applications close. So make sure that you are at least filling in the application and let our academic counselors reach out to you with the eligibility and with the offer letter as well. So again, if you are serious about working in FP&A, then definitely we would recommend you to go through the CGFPA program. You don't have to spend time or think about it separately. Everything that you can imagine under the FP&A umbrella is covered in the CGFPA program. So do go through the application. Again, there are tons and tons of testimonials. You can also ask the previous alumni phone numbers to our academic counselors when they reach out to you. Once you fill in the application form, you can reach out to any of our alumni and they'll tell you how valuable the program has been for them. Many of them have been able to transition into FP&A roles. Many of them have been able to implement a lot of frameworks that we taught them in their existing jobs as well. So there have been tons and tons of testimonials as well. What I would also recommend is take some time out today to create a detailed profile on fpnajobs.com. Hopefully your next opportunity will come from fpnajobs.com. So this is our initiative where we are trying to bring the recruiters and candidates on one platform. All right. So with that, we'll open for questions. Anything that you have in mind, whether about the program or about Claude or about AI or anything that you have in mind, we are open for questions. So apart from the CGFPA program, there are multiple smaller set of courses available on the platform as well. If you're an absolute beginner, you have no idea where to start with FP&A, then what we would recommend is go for the FPI's annual membership. It has over 100 hours of content. Again, the resume and interview preparation sessions. You also get the live expert sessions. You also get invited to guest sessions. So again, FPI membership can be your good starting point. But if you are ready, if you want like working knowledge in FP&A, then go for CGFA program. Otherwise, if you're just starting out in FP&A, then FPI membership will be a great starting point for you. The annual membership costs $197. However, we have an early bird offer going on, which is launch 50. So for the first 50 members, we just launched membership a couple of months ago. So for the first 50 members, in fact, last month.
Couple of weeks
Couple of
ago.
weeks ago, sorry. Yeah. So so the first 50 members get a 50% off. So you can use the code launch50 to get into membership as well. The membership is available on fpnaprofessionals.com. So if you go and just click on the membership, you will be directed to the membership page as well. Cool. So any thoughts, any questions on what we have covered today about AI, about your finance careers, about the programs, about FP&A in general? Thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
everybody. Thanks.
Bye.